Can't take no more now. I said we can't take no more now.
As I close my eyes and listen to the pitter-patter and inhale the smell that I used to enjoy, that sweet aroma from the first drizzle on the soil, a smell that at that moment gave me no joy. Times had gotten hard, real hard, in a Mr. Arms' big dirty yard. I used to stand behind the chain-linked gate, watching the other kids at play, just taking in their state. Dirty water in the gutter, stagnant puddles in the street, did not seem to matter to children with ringwormed feet. 5 families together in the tenement. 2 rooms to a family was all they could rent. The bathroom, 1 chain flush toilet, 1 shower stall. 20 bodies the count, 1 bathroom serving all. Never thought life would have gotten so hard in a Mr. Arms' big dirty yard. 5 flights a day to Miami, and my father's bosses had taken 1. Mother's domestic helper's wage would not suffice. In all the chaos, our lives were left undone. Now the war was raging, no cozy sleep at night. A war my parents created not, but a war they could not refuse to fight. Sadly, I watched my parents stand guard to defend our home, Mr. Arms' big dirty yard. Fires were burning everywhere as people's houses and lives went up in smoke. The handcarts loaded with furniture, people trying to get away, playing over and over in my mind like a sick joke. Much like Rwanda, where people were killing each other, not a one knowing why. The young warriors in the euphoria of the battle, ignorant of a why for which they all were prepared to die. Praying for escape, our lives interrupted and scarred, caught in a new reality, Mr. Arms' big dirty yard. After all these years, I now contemplate if things could have gone another way. I see clearly now, no doubt in mind, we were all caught between elephants at play. So little achieved, yet so much lost. And it was only my people bearing the cost. Incredulously, the brainwashed are still today entranced, attending one or the other party caught up in this crazy dance. While I can still smell the hog pen from my days as a ward, though I have now long escaped Mr. Arms' big dirty yard. The poem is called Jamaica, 1975, taken from my soon-to-be-published book, right? And today we're talking about politics, violence, and the gun culture in Jamaica. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. It's something that we all know about. We all who lived through that period and who didn't would have heard stories of it. So what we're saying is that all of this are tied together. What we have in Jamaica is a corruption and a political problem. And this is how it developed. Ever since adult suffrage in 1944, Jamaica has been split into 2 warring groups. One group supporting one party, the JLP, another group supporting the PNP. And what happened is that this saw to the development of gangs supporting each side for the brand, for breaking up meetings and stuff like that, driving people out of areas so that they can control the turf. You know, and records of politicians actually arming these gangs date back to 1945. Yeah, this became the accepted practice of politics in Jamaica. And as the wars went on, one politician declared, after a big breakup in Garden Town, St. Andrew, at a political meeting, people died. But his thing was, what is the breaking of a few heads in the building of a nation? And today we still have said the politician them. There are people not believing that it all developed through the actions of the politicians. In another instance, while a politician was being jeered at a government meeting somewhere in Heroes Circle, with shouts of blood and fire, him declared to the crowd that, look, if I go for my crowd, it will be fire for fire and blood for blood. Some people, I mean, you can take it to mean anything. But what is critical is that he knew that he had his own gang. So while this gang was marauding and jeering and teasing, he knew and was comforted by the fact that he had his own gang that could bring the same kind of, we call heat. You know what I mean? A politician, a leader here described what took place as two warring factions. Politics is about two warring factions seeking to be perpetually at war over scarce benefits and spoils. Put my way. And that has been the reality. Now I'm going to stop and say this, because I know what is going to happen after this. Due to the love of we leaders, you know, some of us still beholden and we have this love for our special politician. You're going to hear who started it and who never was doing it and who. This is not about that. We're not going, it's not about name calling, it's not about who started it. What we are talking about here is a reality that happened and persists to this day. Persists to this day in Jamaica, where politics and the violence go hand in hand. So I don't want nobody to tell me, no, boy, the CIA did come in and this. All of that happened, and we don't deny that. The truth, though, is that this is not the time to discuss that. And I'm going to say this. Whatever the external forces brought to the country, we never have to take it. We never have to take it. But those external forces saw an opportunity because we were already divided. We divided from 1938. Well, maybe not 1938. 44. Whenever the JLP was formed, we split down the middle, bam, and started to fight each other. For some man, we started to fight each other for some men, supported by some men. Yes? Now I'm going to read. From the proverbial killing of Abel by his brother Cain, murder has been around. But I look at the statistics of Jamaica. The murder rate from 1962 represents a frightening picture of just how we have degenerated to become what some now call the murder capital of the world. It's not far from the truth, as if you look at the per capita numbers, Jamaica is right up there. We're killing more people than even war-torn countries in Eastern Europe and the Middle East, with murders in our worst year topping out at around 1,700. Ever since then, we've been consistently over 1,200 a year. That's what we have become. That is what we have become. We're just here loving our guns and turning it on each other for the slightest of things. But how did we get here? How did we get here? I blame our political leaders straight. It was introduced by them and fomented and stoked. That fire was pushed by the politicians, all in the name of power, controlling a turf so that at the end of an election you could have come out, say you're victorious. You know? So what did the politicians do? We blame them for creating the political divide and encouraging young men to fight each other in support of their own lust for power. We blame them for heavily arming various political garrisons, creating an appetite for guns and gun violence. In all of this, one garrison became so strong that it became colloquially known as the mother of all garrisons. True or lie, that is what it is now known as. What the politicians also did, politicians became the protectors of the gunmen, yeah, and they would have used them power for argument's sake to shackle the police so that the gunman could have walked free. They would also shackle like the court system, and if they can't shackle the court system, what they were doing is using money to get best lawyers to defend them political gunmen. Yes? To the point where, strangely, political murders in Jamaica is actually on the books as non-capital murder. That's what we have, you know. A man can leave him house with him gun, leave him area, go into another man area, shoot him dead, and if he's held by the police, that is non-capital murder, as long as there's what we call a political war going on. Can you imagine? And our politicians claim, boy, them not have nothing to do with it, the man's clean. How do these people sleep at night? So, you know, them would have set up like dons to protect the area, who would have sanitized the communities, sanitize the community throughout everybody else who don't support my party, and everybody else who support the party gets to stay. Yeah? In all of that, we know how that go. You don't just ask people to leave. You beat out people, you burn out people, or you kill them out. Politicians say, boy, him wash him and night, him never do nothing. They might provide handout, yeah? So it's either them hand out the money directly, or them hand it out through government contracts. And these contracts were chiefly based in construction. Them corrupt the police force, the politicians, to the point where known policemen have become political gunmen, political hitmen. Police we are talking about, you know, due to the corruption by the politician. And it came to a head in 1980, where, you know, we killed over 800 in that one election, you know, and people call it the Jamaican Civil War. Well, let me tell you, I lived through it, and I never seen a civil war, you know. What I saw was young black men killing each other at the behest and with the support of some power-hungry brethren calling themselves political leaders. It's crazy, you know. So we have some people like this sitting in the seats where our real leaders should be. But where are our leaders? How does our real leaders rise to become that MP, that councillor? Because the parties themselves don't want this kind of leader. The party want the leader that will ensure the winning of the seat. And what kind of leader that? That is the leader that is willing to give the guns to the youth, willing to push the war, willing to arm the youths, support them with money, and do all of that, never caring that some of them will die. As long as the party get power, that's all the party cares about. I'm going to read another poem. Because today topic I'm going to take a different course, you know. We do more than one poems we're going, because we have poetry to deal with the kind of situation we're talking about. This name politics. Politics mean many ticks, and many ticks kill dog. Them human ticks here suck we out, dooming us all to the marg. These learned fellows and great big minds know all we need to do well. Dance in their parties, sleep in parliament, legislating us all to hell. Musical cheers played every 8 or so years, sucking the fat of the land. Now the land bone dry, they're looking up high, praying for a divine hand. Politics mean many ticks, and many ticks kill dog. Them human ticks here suck we out, dooming us to the marg. Promises, promises. Please stop the promises. You promise everything under the sun. Announcements, announcements. Every day an announcement. Let's see some work being done. Comforting fools, that is your main tool, because you know that fools are aplenty. Dangling sugar, dangling fat, though you know that the cupboard is empty. Politics mean many ticks, and many ticks kill dog. Them human ticks here suck we out, dooming us to the marg. Now lies have become alternative truths. You know that the masses will bite. Take your truth and step off a cliff. You'll fly, politician. Just try it. A whole new world, a whole new time. No leadership to be found. Just rulership and a whole heap of shit I can't wrap my head around. Politics mean many ticks, and many ticks kill dog. Them human ticks here suck we out, dooming us to the marg. Now who to turn to? Nowhere to turn. Can't turn to the church anymore. If pastor and a busy screen little boys and girls, them busy out there buying whores. Now the politician sleeps in peaceful bliss in the prison behind his gate. And the people restless, can't find no sleep in the garbage heap him create. Politics mean many ticks, and many ticks kill dog. Them human ticks here suck we out, dooming us to the marg. Now the Tishan him wicked and dirty and lie. No matter what we do, him not change. All that we don't know what kill the poor dog, but him a tell we are no ticks. A mange. Politics kill many ticks, and many ticks kill dog. Them human ticks here suck we out, dooming us to the mark. That name politics, you know. Another take from the soon to be published book called Through Black Eyes by yours truly. All right, so now we have seen where, while we say it is the politicians that fomented, created the atmosphere, created the appetite for the gun and the gun culture, things started to change. Again, I'm going to read from the prepared text. Things started to change in the mid to late 80s with the ballooning of the drug culture in America. Many of the political gunmen had fled Jamaica, being wanted for atrocities committed in the elections, 1980 elections or otherwise, some helped by the very same politicians. Some became involved in the lucrative drug trade in America and started to send money and arms back to Jamaica, and also helping other corner crews to migrate to assist in the drug enterprise that they would have created. Some of the more noted gangs being the Southies from South, the 90s crew. The 90s come from Rockfort. Schenectady crew. Schenectady is a mix of Eastman, Gullyman and thing. Live in a place called Schenectady in New York. You have the Gully crew, which from my neck of the woods. And the most infamous, the Shower Posse. I mean, I'm know a couple of the men from the Shower Posse too. If you read the book Shower Posse, you might look up some names that we won't call now, but people who I happen to grow with out of East Kingston, but they were on the other side, you know. And all of these gangs were connected to a local garrison. And they funded operations locally from their place in the States. And this kind of led to the weaning of the corner crew from the politician, because them no longer they depend on the politicians for the money, and they would have their own money for buy their own gun and thing. The truth is that, another truth is that the political warring kind of was cool, because we had a leader at the time that wasn't confrontational, the personality of a PJ Patterson, With the transforming of the political gangs now into drug gang, and them make them own money. The tables turned, and now what we had was the politicians now, the tailor wagged the dog. So what we had now is the politicians depending more on the gunmen rather than the other way around. So what the politician do? Politicians still find a way to keep himself in there, See? So what the politician would have do now is he make himself relevant, because what happens is that the gunman now go walk certain corridors if him not have help, And if you have certain money, you're going to need to step on the other side. You're going to need to do some business. You're going to need to do something with this money. And so the politician would have now make himself available for that transition. You know what I mean? Some people are morphed into businessmen. So now them would have get now, because them set up them business, them own money, them would have get political contracts. And what the politician would have do, or allegedly does, is have kickbacks coming out of this political contract that he's now providing into the party. But it's a dangerous thing. Because when the politician have no control no more, then who stop the guns from barking? When wars are going, politician can't stop it no more. But him have himself to blame. There would have been no war if him never split this country apart. I don't know. Okay, so you want power. You have two different ideology. Saying, but you put it to the people. And if you're really democratic in your orientation, then you allow the people to pick them choice. And you live with that choice. When your time come around again, you come again, you put together an argument and you take it to the people. But these people don't want that. They never wanted that. It's power at all costs. And as I said, this is going from the 1940s. So it moved from beating with big stick. It moved to machete, wars in the street. And then it moved to buckshot and one pop. Until in the 70s, we say high-powered weapons. Now in the 70s, it was three parties. And the ideology, a rage. Yeah? So you have one party totally left, you have one party more left of center. And then you have one party where say, we're going straight right. And everybody want power. And the guns got bigger. And the killings got worse. And the war raged hotter. And no politician own it. Later on, we see politicians try own it. We see Bruce Golden, for argument's sake, go in a parliament, go say, he used to be associated with gunmen. The rest of man, them tar and feather him. And laugh him to scorn. Because nobody will own up to what they have done to this country. Yeah? But this is the country we live in now. And I know we're going to get the comments, because again, I say, people are going to start to defend for them local loved politician. Oh, no, never my politician, I never my leader. He's the next leader. Well, I never saw it that way. As a child of the 70s, I never even knew nothing about the politics. I saw the older guys, my older brothers, killing my older brothers with guns supplied by these politicians. That's the Jamaica we have, Rhyme and reason. You see you another time.
We can't take no more now.